This is the Bar Stewards Enquiry.
You're talking absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish.
In what way?
You were an underachiever in life. I'd saved your bacon one time. You were gone.
You handled that well. I couldn't save you. But you did the right thing.
Well, that's why you don't know anything about racing, John.
I didn't say I do.
Right?
I'm saying that...
What have you contributed to racing? You're one of these take-out merchants. Take out all you can.
A big one. Welcome to the Bar Stewards Enquiry Weekend Podcast. And this weekend is the Hennessy Gold Cup at Newbury, now sponsored by Coral instead of Ladbrokes, but still the same company and Entain. And the Fighting Fifth Hurdle up at Newcastle. Their meeting tomorrow going on after watering this week on good to soft ground. Interesting one, that one. Maybe one for the sermon on Sunday. And joining me tonight is a skeleton crew due to injuries and illnesses and all sorts this week. It's myself, John Lang, and super trainer Neville and Adam. Good evening, chaps.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Yes, indeed. Evening, John. We'll get straight on with it. Obviously, great weekend of national racing, and we'll go to the best bets round. So this is where we give our three best bets out for new listeners that haven't listened before. 1 point, 2 point, 3 points, and then we'll go on to the television action to discuss the races in further detail. Okay, Neville Ender, coming to you for your 1 point bet.
Well, my 1 point bet is going to be shared. It's going to be one of your wanking bets.
Is this a split stake wanker bet?
You could say I'm wanking now.
Okay.
And I'm going to go in the what's used to be known as the Hennessy. But I'm going to call it the Hennessy. I'm not calling it this bookmaker Gold Cup chase. It's the Hennessy. Yeah. It always will be the Hennessy. The days of Brown Chamberlain winning it. I remember once having I'm reminiscing about. I once backed Brown Chamberlain anti-post when he won it. It's a competitive race. I don't think it's a vintage renewal. There's no Denman in here, and there's no Waterfriend, was it, that of Paul Nicholls? Yeah. I wouldn't say it's not a bad race. It's a high class handicap, but I don't think there are any potential Gold Cup winners in it this year. No. Looking down the handicap, I came up with a horse of Neil Mulholland's, who ordinarily probably wouldn't be as good to win a vintage Hennessy, but Lord Accord ran a cracking race at Wincanton in the Badger Beer race. Yes. He chased home Frodon, and I'm not saying he'd have beaten Frodon, but he would have been right on top of him had he not got the last all wrong. He didn't blunder, but he just met it wrong, and he didn't land running, and Frodon was able to skip a couple of lengths further ahead of him. He's due to go up £3 more than what he's carrying on Saturday. He's a horse that stays extremely well, and I don't believe that Wincanton would have suited him as well as a course like Newbury, which is far more galloping. And prior to his second at Wincanton, he did win at Cheltenham off £6 lower mark than what he runs off tomorrow. I think he's a sporting each way bet in a race that I think there's question marks against several. I did like Remastered at the beginning of the week, and I was going to have an anti-post bet on him, but I do think he needs the ground softer than it's going to be. I'm surprised Corach Rambler's favourite, although I did back him at Cheltenham last year, and he came through many horses to win. I don't really believe he should be favourite. He's certainly handicapped right up to his best. And Lemios won at Bangor, and he's one that's swelling. I think he's about maybe £4 or £5 better in than his handicap mark. But I didn't think he jumped that well at Bangor when he won. So I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to go each way, Lord Accord, in the 305 at Newbury.
So it's an each way wanker bet.
Well, sometimes you've got to wank.
Yeah, absolutely. Indeed. That's 12 to 1 available for Nev. Five places. Bet365, Paddy Power, and Betfair. 12 to 1 for Nev on the Badger Beer Run Lord Accord. Half a point each way. Good stuff, Nev. John?
Well, seeing as how it's such a good weekend of national hunt action, I'll start with one in the 420 at Wolverhampton.
You can't.
It's Sir Michael Stout's Zakara. This one's been campaigned, I think, with handicaps in mind. Look, a fair bit of improvement with some pace on it, I think. And I think that'll come from the Johnson horse. And the stiffer testing she's encountered the last twice. The Pony race was a case in point last time. She doesn't do anything quickly, but I think she'll benefit from being wound up from about half a mile out here. She'll need to be, because she'll be held up off that draw, which is a slight concern, which makes me want to go each way, and I'm going to go each way, half a point each way.
Half a point each way, that's where 10 to 1, 4 places with the Paddy Power machine.
Now you have to wank, as a great man once said.
Absolutely. John, just a quick question on Zakara. Kirsten Rousing. I can't recall many Kirsten Rousing owned fillies trained by Sir Michael.
He's had a few of us the last 3 or 4 years, I think.
Yeah.
Not a lot, you know. I mean, he's very much in a second division as he was with the Shadwell horses, really.
Yeah, right. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, for some reason she favours the Baron, doesn't she? She likes the Baron.
She maybe likes a bit of bullfighting.
The Tetra Pak lady, yeah. Cause,
just sticking with the flat theme, actually, I've had a bit of an update on the Marco Gianni situation.
Oh, yeah.
From my snout at the BHA. And he said they are offering Marco a deal, actually, in order to broaden the appeal of racing. And they said if he doesn't want to serve the 6-month ban for Charlie, he can go into the Australian jungle, chow down on a kangaroo's cock, and all will be forgiven.
Brilliant. Absolutely love that. Yeah, that's it. That seems the way out these days, doesn't it? Let's all go in jungle.
It doesn't matter what you do. If you go to Australia, get a kangaroo's cock in your mouth, anything goes.
Yeah.
True.
Brilliant, John. Love it.
Doesn't have to be a cock either, does it? It could be.
Could be anything. A camel's anus, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever they should.
Wombat's flange, anything.
No, Macaulay's flange.
Let's not go there.
Yeah, you see, we're losing it. Anyway, this is before round 1. Okay, I'll finish the round off. Thanks, John, for that. Zakara for John. Stouts at Wolverhampton in the nursery.
Sounds like an Aga Khan horse, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does really, doesn't it? But by Bobby's Kitten, looking at the mother by Cassara, and that was by Saddle as well. So it's not the Argus stock.
No, there's no Aga Khan blood in that.
No, not at all. So okay, so back to the jumps for my third best, and I'm going head to head with Nev in the Hennessy, the 305 at Newbury, and my 1 point win on the nose is going on Bustleton at 9 to 1. With the Billy Mountains. I really think Bustleton is a little bit underrated here for the same reason as what Neville said about the race. He said there's no Denman in this. There doesn't look to be any sort of future possible Gold Cup horse or kind of proper Grade 1 animal lurking in this, like sometimes there is. So with that in mind, I'm a bit perplexed as to why Bustleton isn't right up there heading the market on his own, because he won at Listowel, very competitive race. Really, the Irish handicaps are really competitive. He's a real tough. He's tough as old boots. He comes off the bridle and he keeps finding. And you can't even believe that Bustleton's 5 years old. It feels like Bustleton's been around since, for 10 years. And Catherine Fry obviously loves this horse. And I just think this horse has more to offer. And I can't believe the 9 to 1 is reflective of his chances, because I do believe he's one of these horses that he's not had much experience in handicap company. He went in Grade 1 novices last season mostly, and then like he ran at Cheltenham against the Bob Ollinger, that farce of a race at Cheltenham where he was dropped out last and not off. But handicap company, he's unexposed, and I think 9 to 1 is absolutely huge, and I'd have him a lot shorter. Obviously, punters will be buoyed by the Jericho Rock stroke Correct Rambler form, Ultima form from last season at Cheltenham, but he's only just handicap form, really. I think Bustleton has got more to offer, so that's where my 1 point's going at 9-1 with William Hill. John, swing it round to you for your second best.
Right, sticking with the programme, the 8:20 at Wolverhampton. Crownthorpe was a big eye-catcher last time. He was making steady headway from the rear, and to my mind, he's clearly well handicapped. Has a nice draw here and should go the shortest way around this 9 furlongs. There's not abundant pace on him, that's a slight concern, but I expect the race to get going a fair way out because there's one or two in-form horses in this, and I think it could just favour a closer. I think he's solid for the frame, point each way.
Point each way, and it's four places with Sky Bet, Paddy Power, and Betfair at 6-1. So very generous indeed. Each way terms, back class in spades as Crownthorpe for the scaffolder, Richard Fahey. So yeah, I absolutely can see where you're coming from on that one. Good one. Coming on to my 2-pointer, which goes at Bangor. Heavy ground there tomorrow, and Donald McCain's got a battalion out there as usual, and Henry Daly's also got a few runners, and that's where I'm going. My 2-point win bet is Henry Daly's Petty Cash in the 12.23 at Bangor, the opener. So you can just have your chip butty. You can, you've just gone at Chippy, you can go in the bookies, smash the arse off this one, and come out with a smiling face. This horse is making its debut over fences and faces some pretty weak opposition. Only Nettie Well of Lucinda Russell's is an unexposed sort in this. Crackdown Indian is a pig. The Big Jetaway only beat Brian Ellison's Lucky Robin at Sedgefield by about 7 or 8 lengths. It's crap form. It's nothing to get carried away about. And Petty Cash was progressive last year, loves the mud, absolutely loves it, and has got the physique for a chaser. I do not understand why this isn't favourite. You've got to be mad not to make this favourite. 4-1's huge, and that's generally available. So that's where my 2-point win's going to go. And I will be very disappointed if this jumps well and does not absolutely win on the Billy Idol. So Petty Cash, strong one from me. Nev, coming to you.
I'm going to stay at Newbury, and it's a £40,000 handicap, a real quality race with the way it's headed by a horse rated 139, so you can see what type of race we've got. It's attracted a field of fairly unexposed horses. Walking on Air was a talking horse of Nicky Henderson's last season, that only raced 3 times, could be anything, runs off 132. But further down the handicap, one of the more exposed horses, but has been showing improved form on the flat, is Malacana of Ian Williams. And it won probably the worst valuable race at Cheltenham's April meeting. Every year they have this mare or fillies race for 4-year-olds, and it's worth something like 25 grand or something to the winner. She won that race off 120. She now runs off 125, but since that Cheltenham win, she's shown improved form on the flat and has won at Ascot and Newmarket on her 2 most recent starts. I think she could develop into one of the gambles of the day. Malacana, she's going to be a big price. She's got to be double figures. I'm going to go 2 points win on her. I am concerned that Walking on Air could also be a gamble because that's been a talking horse. But Malacana, I think she's massively overpriced for a horse that's coming here in great form. As I said, having won twice on the flat, and she runs over 2.5 miles as well, which I think will bring out some improvement because she did win both her last 2 starts on the flat over 2 miles. So she's got to be double figure odds though. She's got to be 20-1.
Fours, Nev.
Oh, come on.
No, it's just tens.
Is it all tens?
Tens, that's what you're going. They've had the 12s. They're nibbling at her already. 10-1. Bet365. Paddy Power. Coral. Spoiled.
She could start 6-1.
Could do. Do you know what? She's extremely tough. Got a really good constitution, and which like some mares and fillies have. Some are soft. Some have some really tough constitutions. And I've seen Malacana battle like a lion on the flat this summer.
She's got to improve for the step up in trip as well, hasn't she?
Absolutely. I share your confidence in a way. It is very competitive, obviously.
It is competitive, yeah.
There are some really good horses, but I do get your reasoning. And I think 10-1's very fair. I've had her a little bit shorter than that.
I've already backed her on Betfair.
Yeah, well, you would do, wouldn't you? Stealing the listeners' money as we speak, right on the show now. I'm all right, Jack. Is Neville 2 points win on the nostrils. 10-1, generally available for Nev. Wish him luck with that selection. Okay, so that is second round. Now it's best bets round. Let's hope we might get a klaxon between the three of us. Not a chance though. John.
Have I missed anything, lads?
It's Adam Norman just popped in. This is a first. Right, I'll tell you what then. Before we go on to the 3-pointers, Adam. Right.
Hello.
Welcome. Yeah, nice of you to join.
Hi, guys.
After time of it. Right, give us your 1-pointer.
Right. Okay. It's in the first race at Donny. It's called Quiet Flow. Ran last week at Newcastle. Johnny England pulled it up halfway around for some reason. I think he said it was the ground. I think it's a bit of a pig, this horse. They've put cheat pieces on, which is what I've been waiting for them to do. It's a dreadful race for a Saturday. It's off 83 and a 0 to 105. Not a great race. It's just the type to bounce back with cheap pieces on for the first time. So Quiet Flow at quite big odds.
8-1 Bet365 with Lewis Stern on. This is a dreadful pig as well. So I hope your cheap pieces work for this. Sometimes they do. They'll catch us out. Quiet Flow is well handicapped if he puts it in. Admittedly, but he has pigged it a couple of times. So 1 point on the nostrils for Adam. 8-1 with Bet365 1205 Doncaster. Adam, your second best bet, and then we're all back in tune and sing.
Right, okay. I've actually gone for the Hennessy here.
We could have a klaxon then. Have we got a klaxon?
Because right.
You never tip one.
Oh, right, okay. Well, I'm going in here blind. So horse have been actually waiting for this kind of test for. It's an out-and-out staying chaser who looks really unexposed. It is the Tizard horse Oscar Elite. proper staying chase, almost an old-fashioned chase type who I saw run in the Yorkshire Hurdle in October. Cracking looking horse, and I'd kept an eye on it all last year when it was running in novice chases and was running in decent company. Was third in the ultimate at the festival behind Corach, Rambler, and one or two others were in that race, obviously. And he's, I think he's £7 better off or something like that. I just think there's masses of untapped potential, and they get Harry Cobden on, which is great. I'm surprised that Nichols hasn't got anything other than the 3 under through 5, the Heskin ride. So Oscar Elite really interests me. So he's 2 points. 2
points on the nostrils for Adam. 9-1. Available with Bet365, Paddy Power, William Hill, Unibet, and Betfred. So good luck with that, Adam. Cheers. We're all in sync now, so we've all had round twos. John, let's come to you for your all-weather maximum.
You've read the script. Very straightforward, this one. 6:20, glittering lights. Best of these on the clock. Taking into account of Ad's claim, I think this has the beating of these. The Clover horse is open to improvement, but I'm not sure of the quality of that race. The race that one made its debut in. It's not a great 8. I don't think the selections want to follow, but she should be good enough here. 3 points win.
Pretty straightforward explanation. So glittering lights for Farragher. Good. I love Adam Farragher as a jockey. I think he's really gonna go to another level next year. I think he's.
He tries that.
Yeah, I like him. I think the shirt likes him. So if the shirt likes him, then
the shirt likes him. We like him.
Absolutely. 15-8 glittering lights. Generallyville for John for his 3 points on the nut on the sand dunes. 6:20. Just when you've done your bollocks all afternoon, that's one to maybe press up. Let's go for it. Let's get the adrenaline going with that one.
Take out a loan.
Yeah, get the adrenaline going with that one. Gambling aware. Right, so that's John finishing off with the all-weather bet. I'll go next then for the 3-pointer, and this is maximum confidence. Goes in the 2:30 at Newbury, the Jerry Field, and a good old favourite race of mine. Love this race. The prices are going quicker than, it looks under pressure already, but 3-1 is still available for Picard, trained by Dan Skelton. And this horse really is a handicap blot in a major way. Rated 125 at the start of the year. They brought this one out wheeled it out at Chepstow, gave it a slightly negative ride, but it still had enough to win absolutely on the snaff, beating horses that have won since, and the form has been boosted. But I think we have to look further back than just the last run for Picard, because last season it was an experiment. He was basically given floats throughout last season, and you could tell even then it was a much better horse than 127. I've put this in the 145 bracket, which suggests we've got £18 in hand. I don't think we'll need the 18. We might need 10, but I think we're there. And I price this up about 13-8. It is a good race, but you've got a horse like Teddy Blue that pulls very hard. He's a talented horse in his own right, but he pulls extremely hard. You can't get away with it when you're taking on horses of this ilk. And he's third in. First Street's got good handicap form for Hendo, Popeye last season, but 146. He's not going to give £19 to Picard. Not going to happen. Skelton's other run, Boomborn, probably make the pace. I just think this is an absolute good thing. So Picard, all in, 3-1, bang, 3 points win. Neville Ender.
For my top bet on Saturday, I'm going to choose one in the 12:45 at Newbury, and 50 grand race. There are only 4 declared. One has already been taken out for whatever reason, so we're down to three quality horses, or certainly 2 of them are quality, Time Hill and McFabulous. I'm going to go against Time Hill because I do love him. I think he's a smashing hurdler who's seldom outlaid money, but conceding £3 to McFabulous when there wouldn't be a great deal more than that between them over hurdles. And I thought McFabulous put in a tremendous round of jumping at Exeter when he beat just 3 rivals. There is a slight question mark as to whether he truly is better at distances short of, well, he's running over just a few yards short of 3 miles tomorrow, but he's a quality horse. And that £3 for me is just going to tip the scales. I wasn't totally convinced about Time Hill when he made his debut 22 days ago at Exeter. He made 1 or 2 slightly iffy jumps, and he's not overly big as well. Mortlack has had a good season, but he's probably out of his depth, although he'll probably tote the field along until maybe 4 out. He has got a tendency to jump slightly to his left, I think it is. But yeah, these 2, Time Hill and McFabulous, are very high quality staying hurdlers. I just think that McFabulous is going to turn out to be the better chaser out of the 2 of them, and that £3 for me that Time Hill has to concede might just tip the scales. And you're getting somewhere around 2-1 and 9-4 McFabulous in a virtual match. I think he's going to be certainly worth backing on Saturday.
Yeah, no, fair points. Like you say, so basically you're saying you love Time Hill. I
do love him. Yeah, I really do like him, but he's not very big. He's not small, but he's not overly big to be jumping Newbury fences.
No, I like your reasonings. 2-1 McFabulous for Nev, and that's a bet that pains him because he loves Time Hill. So there you go, folks. Nev's max 3 points, 2-1 McFabulous in the 12:45. Is it the old Worcester chase, Nev? You used to call it the Worcester chase.
It used to be the Fred Rimmel chase, something like that, and then
I'm sure they called it the Worcester chase or Worcester Novices chase. I don't. Probably wrong.
50 grand's worth. They want to be attracting more than 3 runners, don't they?
Yeah, they do really. Right, Norman Adams. He's fresh from Doncaster. He's come up the A1. He's been stuck in traffic. He's been swearing up the A1 at terrible drivers. But he's come here all calm now to deliver his 3-point bet.
I've got a brilliant one for you here. It's 120 banger.
Yes.
The mud will be flying, and that is the prerequisite for Keep Wondering, or Keep Wandering.
It's the 128 banger, but
128. What did I call it? Oh
120.
120.
That's to make sure.
I can't even see.
That's to make sure punters
You get on early.
Get one on time.
Yeah. What's amusing about this is it's ridden by Elizabeth Gale, who has ridden 3 races.
Yeah.
Or is it 4? She's ridden a couple of winners. I don't know if
is it Philip Hobbs in the week, was it?
That's right. Yeah, she's ridden that twice. I think it's for the same. It may or may not be for the same connections, but anyway, she's ridden 2 winners.
The same colours, isn't it?
Same or similar. Yeah. Anyway, Keep Wondering is a real proper old-fashioned sort of mudlark, and anything other than heavy is no good to it. Won a race at Haydock last year from a similar sort of mark. I think it's slightly better level than this lot. It looks a pretty modest race. This Tim Pat is likely favourite and a progressive chaser. But I do think that in this sort of ground you need a run on your side, and this thing had a spin round here over hurdles a couple of weeks ago. I think with Elizabeth riding, I think that'll hold the price up, and I think it should be, if it had a pro jockey, it would be a lot shorter. But we're getting some value here, I think. And can I go SP, Lee? Because I genuinely think nobody's going to fancy it because of this jockey. So I'm going to in a field where I don't like many of the others. I think it wouldn't surprise me if this just fell in, to be honest. So it's going to be.
Yeah, SP for you, Adam North.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to enjoy this race.
Yeah,
it could be fun to watch.
5-2.
Yeah.
What about now your followers get stuck in and smash the price?
I want all our.
I'm going to be laying it all morning. Yeah.
Yes, and then poor Ads is looking at the telly thinking, "This is shit. This is shit." What's happening? So SP bet for Norms. He thinks that with the pilot, etc., that's not going to attract the betting public, but he likes the horse on the ground. Well, let's certainly finish us off. If that's not finished you off now, it's time to log off. Anyway, on to the Saturday's TV action, and plenty to discuss here. Obviously, a very, very big day in the racing calendar for the national crowd. And before we go on to the racing, there was a terrific finish today in the Newbury Stayers race, the Staying Hurdle. What a race that was between 2 10-year-olds in Champ and Paisley Park. That was probably national racing at its finest. I do enjoy things like that where it's hammer and tongs right until the line, and a brilliant ride from John Joe O'Neill on Champ from the front, but Paisley Park, geez, absolutely nothing. On the track, gave it all. It was just that was enjoyable to watch.
Champ will be all right after running on that good ground. He won't be laid up wounded for the rest of the year.
Well, well, the thing is, I mean, Nicky's weaved his magic, hasn't he? Because Constitution Hill heads to the fighting fifth, and the Newcastle Clark basically has started having diarrhea all week as to
Louise,
what to do. Yeah.
We ran one the other day at Newcastle, and it was absolutely bottomless. So I'm surprised about the water.
They've been chucking water on. I mean,
yeah.
This is a strange old call, and yeah, I'm sort of in shock by the decision to do this, but obviously certain trainers,
they're desperate, are they, to get Epitante and Constitution Hill. I mean, they'll do anything, won't they, to get those two.
Yeah, certain trainers obviously have this power. John, I'm going to bring you in here just before we go on to the TV races. So it's wrong, this, isn't it? That trainers have got this power then to influence Clarks to basically create a false surface.
Well, Clarks have done this for a long time now, haven't they? I mean, Gosden's an absolute master at it, isn't he? He walks the track like before every Cambridge show when he's running a Group 1 house in it. And threatens to withdraw and all the rest of it. And, I mean, And Clark's always respond, don't they? You know, that's the thing. You know, they cave into these big trainers.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, they hold the power. We know this now. We knew this after the last flat season, certainly. And certainly, if a trainer kicks off and said, this ground's, you know, I'm not going to run. If this is good to firm Saturday, I'm not running. Then literally they will make sure they stick plenty on for good. And that's on flat racing. Now it's happening in jumps where it's like, well, we could get Constitution ill against Epiton. We could get long press in the rehearsal. But we don't want... No. We need it soft, and I think this is unfair on the trainers that probably their horses like that little bit better ground. You know, it should be natural occurrences. I'm not in favour, but more to come on that on the sermon. Let's go to the TV races then. So we'll start with Newcastle, and that is they start with a 135, which is a fairly uncompetitive affair for the money anyway. 20,000 added, just the 5 turn up. Nothing new here. So Newcastle are watering, but it's attracted 5 runners. 11-4 favourite Lord Rocco. Any views here, chaps?
Yeah, I nearly put one up here actually. Ben Pauling's been having winners all over the place. Well documented. I like Malinello as a horse. I remember seeing him a couple of years ago. He's had plenty of time off. From my maths, I suspect he was probably ready to run at the end of the last season if he had a tendon or some sort of leg. So I suspect he's been in a long time and just waiting for some ground. He's a really nice horse. He's had a wind up. And I thought he would take a bit of beating, actually. Lord Rocco ran okay first time, and he's going to be competitive with you. It's going well. But I was keen to go with Ben Pauling's Malinello in that.
Yeah, Lord Rocco pecked at the last time and probably would have gone a lot closer to winning.
You spoke about that race, didn't you? I don't know where it was, it last week or on the sermon, that Grand Voyage didn't jump that well and still won. Yeah. So I just wonder if the runner-up was a bit flattered. Yeah.
I was with you on that. I watched the Irish horse as well, Gavin Cromwell's. That didn't jump well at Fairyhouse at all. I'm yet to be convinced he's a chaser. He makes quite a few mistakes actually. Some that aren't picked up by the racing form books. You know, he seems to guess at quite a few of them. So I'm not really with the Irish horse either. So I could probably row in with their Norm on that one if they've got him right. Nev, John, anything?
Well, I thought Son of the Somme jumped well on his chase debut. I think the extra triple suit him. He's probably not good enough to win a run-of-the-mill 20 grand race, but you know he's extremely consistent, and I don't think it's a very good race, really. You know,
no,
you wouldn't be surprised. You could probably give a chance to most of them, but I'm just hope that Nathan can ride a big Saturday when it'd be doing a lot of good. But I think Son of the Somme's got a good chance.
No, okay. John, anything for you in that?
That Malinello if it's fit.
Yeah, if fit, like you say, no makes a good case really. I think in terms of the standard of the race now, but Al Pauling's shitting winners as well, which helps.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at his bumper form, he's up against some really nice switch hitter he beat, or he ran really close to it. But Kempton is a nice horse, just a classy individual, you know.
Well, no, you've seen him in the flesh, so let's hope that does the business then. If punters are following us in on that. Okay, we'll go to the fighting fifth. Constitutional, a very heavy favourite, 2-7. Certainly not punting material for most folk. Any outright views on this? Can we get him beaten?
Well, let's hope so.
After last week, yeah, definitely. I
think that's what Nicky doesn't realise. You know, he ends up with these horses that people are wanting to say right eventually because they just get that pissed off with how they get campaigned, don't they?
Well, he's a bit dull. I mean, in terms of is this going to be another Shishkin where it turns up 3 times a year, 1-5, 1-5? Beating 3 runners and then turns up for its big race at Cheltenham. It's really not interesting, is it? In terms of, I mean, people say, well, what about flat horses like Baid? That turns up at 3 times. Difference is with Baid, he's turning up all the time in Group 1s. He's not turning up for a float round against Sadiq and another, one of Tom George's, that can't breathe. It's as if Endo wants like the easiest campaign possible towards the big target, which is obviously Cheltenham. Which, most trainers do, but the Irish don't fuck about like that. Norman, Nev, thoughts here?
It's his race to lose, isn't it, really? I mean, he's probably the best 5-year-old I've seen in my lifetime, of novice hurdlers. I can go back to, 40 years. I've not seen one as impressive as him. But if something's too good to be true, it usually is. So maybe, he's going to do it all again this year. He's going to have to run to a pretty high mark, to beat Epitante, who showed she was, if not as good as a champion hurdle year, she was only, a pound or two beneath it. And he's going to have to run to at least 161 to beat her, at the very least. I don't think it's a gimme for him. And Not So Sleepy was dead heated in this race last year. Epitante, he can go a good pace. He's a high quality flat horse. I wouldn't want to be taking 1 to 4. Constitution.
Well, JP will stop his, and then everyone, and he'll have a 70 to win 20. And that's that. And that's the show over, boys. 325 Newcastle. That's the Betfair Exchange Rehearsal Handicap chase. Used to run at Chepstow many moons ago, but now has moved.
Did Gavin Hill win this one?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Hill won a rehearsal. Yes.
Yeah. Essentially, it's a Welsh national rehearsal, isn't it? That's what it was.
What it was. Yeah. They've moved it to the northeast now to try and probably have a Scottish Grand National trial or something.
So it's an Ida rehearsal.
Ida rehearsal. Yeah. Long Press, because of the watering, has decided to come up to throw its hat into the ring. 13-8 favourite from the very promising Into Overdrive of Mark Walford's. That is a terrific jumper and gets a lot of weight, and he's 4-1. Thoughts on this, chaps?
I thought that Long Press had quite a task on his hands, really. His 164 is a very hard mark to win off. Obviously, he's got a lot of class, and you look down the handicap, and there's the one or two that are probably below the best days are gone. At Winter Avenue, popped up at Doncaster, but he's pulled up on 3 subsequent starts. Who Shot the Sheriff's a good horse, but I couldn't put him in even within the same breath of maybe I Wright and Long Press. If it was short enough, Long Press, I'd probably want to lay him. If it was about even, and I don't know what price he's going to be, but the Racing Post are guessing him at 11-8. I'd probably want to take him on, because he's not going to be 100% ready, is he? With such a, this isn't his main target. This will be to put him spot on for later races, and you've got horses like Dingo Dollar and I Wright who are probably, at their peak now. I don't think Into Overdrive's good enough. I mean, he's stepping up in grade. If I was going to have a bet, I'm not going to have a bet in the race. If I was going to have a bet, if he was short enough, I'd probably lay Long Press. But it'd have to be about evens for me to take him on. Is he not going to be evens?
You love it, Nev. You love it. What price
is he going to be? I haven't looked.
He's 13-8 at the moment.
13-8.
And that's with the book. So that'd be 2.8 on the machine, or 2.7-ish on the machine.
I think they've been betting on it since Tuesday. So
yeah. So I love Nev's prices. They're fantastic. In fact, when the only time Nev got excited about one on here was when he expected it to be like 6-4. I think it was like 3-1. That Irish horse you tipped.
Yeah, Paul Nolan's.
Yeah. And it's like, and I even said on the show, I said, you've never ever tipped one, and it's like actually bigger than what the bookies are going. It's like, don't miss this one. Do not miss. So yeah, Long Press. Nev's against, if it's short, if they back it, he's going to be there snarling away on the pink button.
I think the fascinating one here is Happy Go Luckily.
Yes,
it's done literally nothing wrong under rules whatsoever. I don't know how bad the injury was that's kept him off a season. He probably should have won the Ultima in 2021. Just didn't get a great ride on that occasion. I think Bass blamed himself for getting beat that day. He made amends at Aintree in no uncertain terms. If he's tuned up, I think he'll probably be the one to beat. I'll be honest, I agree with the Long Press sort of angle. Happy Go Lucky is really interesting. It's almost worth putting up as a, in our weekend sort of bet. So it's bizarre seeing Into Overdrive running against a horse like Long Press. It's just really weird.
Weird, isn't it? Yeah,
it is weird. Yeah, that's handicapping for you. But I'm a much sort of bigger punter of horses, class horses, giving weight to lesser animals. I'm not really a massive better of the other way around. So as much as I'd love to see Into Overdrive go well, and this was the target since he won at Wetherby, very with ease. And I think 1-3-8 he can win races off around that mark. This is just asking quite a lot at this stage of his career. So I think Happy Go Lucky for me is, and if he's strong in the market, then I may well have a good go on him.
He'll be fit. I bet. Are you there tomorrow?
I'm not. I'm sticking with Townmore, unfortunately. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. If he's fit, Happy Go Lucky. He usually does. Kim Bailey does usually get him ready after long absences.
And again, talking about injuries, when they have 18 months off, they tend to be okay after a year, don't they? And they have they'll have brought him in early and got him ready, I would have thought. So he's really interesting. I don't really fancy anything else in the race, I must say.
Yeah. Long time to be off though, isn't it? 595.
It's not. It's not great. But as I say, Nev, you're a trainer. If you get an injury, depends how bad it is. Obviously, they tend to give him 18 months. But by the spring, he would probably have been perfectly. They could have trained him to probably come back in the late spring, but it would have been too late, wouldn't it? Just to target him for one race. So
if you've got a tendon, you ideally you want to give him 12 months.
Yeah.
If it's not healed after 12 months, then it's not going to heal. So, but then the fibres in the tendon will always be weakened. So you really want to be careful on the ground. And I think if it dried out, they might even think about But
I'm not a huge fan as a punter of backing horses that have had a leg. I think that's
the new 12 months seems to be 9 months now. A lot of trainers are just giving them 9. We always make sure a full year. As soon as they've got a warm leg, you've got to give them time.
Yeah.
And but then you're scared stiff about doing too much with them because I don't know. There are very few horses that come back as good as they were. You can count on one hand. I can't think of many that have had a full year off and then come back. But certainly as good as they were, if not,
we're assuming he had a leg. I don't know if it was a number of niggles or not. I don't know anything about why he's been off, but
you can assume it's probably a leg.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. But I think for me, you've just got to trust these top trainers that they they're happy that they're ready to go, and
Do you remember a horse called Blazing Walker years and
absolutely,
years?
yeah. W.A. Stevenson, yeah.
No one had bigger shoes than Arthur Stevenson. Massive.
He was one of the few horses I could say that had a long time off and then came back better than ever. Yeah. But there are so few, aren't there? There's so few horses that can recapture their best form. Yeah, I hope he does. He's a very promising horse. He's still only 8. You would think he's got some more improvement in him. But you just shit scared, aren't you? Once they've had a leg.
Good days that Arthur Stevenson, with Chris Grant that used to ride.
Ridley Lamb,
Ridley Lamb, yeah.
Kenny Johnson.
Yeah, reminiscing now. Kenny Johnson. Ooh.
That horse used a 2-miler of his. Sleeve.
Slave Bratton.
Yes, I think it was. Was it a dead 2-miler? It used to tear off.
Yeah.
Used to be running Peter Pillar's colours.
Yeah, Peter Pillar. Yeah, the blue with the yellow stripe down the middle. Yeah, he used to like them. Blazing Walker, lovely horse that. Yeah. Good to reminisce, as always. Right, we need to move to Newbury. Time running short on the show. So we're going to go to the 120 race. That's the Sir Peter O'Sullivan Memorial Handicap Chase, where Cap Course is bidding for a third win in the race. McManus wheels out the O'Sullivan colours for this, and obviously will be laid out for it. My view is that this might not be totally straightforward this year. Looking at the race, I thought there was a few in here that might sort of cause some problems. Although Mr. Coffee, I see, is a non-runner, that was one of the dangers I thought or could be for Popeye. Obviously, ground too quick. Thoughts on this, chaps?
Well, I nearly put one up in this race, and I said I would not go with this horse again, but I thought Zanza ran really well at Wetherby. And it looked like for me as if he was crying out to go up in trip. I think the race he finished second in, he's only got a pound for that. And Newbury suits him really well. It just might be that he's going to come back and maybe recapture his best. He's fully £10 and more below what he was running off last year and the year before. And I'm prepared to give him one more go, Zanza. I said I wouldn't, but I'm going to do.
Don't you think he's a complete pig, Nev?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think he's a shit. I do think
he's a shithouse. He's a grade A shithouse.
He's good enough to win a race like this, and on his best form, he's throwing it.
But Nev, the problem is that you're not the only one that thinks that, and he's 4-1 favourite.
No, 11-2 on my screen. But
yeah, right. See, I'd want more. I'd want more than that.
Yeah.
2.
Yeah.
14s, won't you, Nev?
Well. I was thinking about 12 or 14, yeah. I just don't think he's favourite material. But, it's not impossible that this race could just be made for him.
Well, bearing in mind last year that Zanza was my bet, like in the Thomas Pink.
Off about 140 plus.
144, now it's £10 lighter.
He made a cracking renewal, didn't he? His last run at Wetherby was a cracker.
Yeah. It was okay. It was a funny race though, wasn't it? He's made up about 15 lengths from 2 out.
But he always does.
He looked well beat. Yeah,
Do you also think the ground as well? This good ground will suit him.
Yeah.
If Christian Williams was banging the winners, which to be honest, he has that many not off, so they don't matter. But if he was, and his fancied horses were actually doing the biz more often, I'd be really interested in Captain Nord. Nev's tipped up Lord Accord in the Hennessy, and really? Captain Nord was 11 lengths further back in third, but it got terribly hampered by the faller down the back. Must have cost it at least half a dozen lengths. So with that in mind, and I'm not a fan of the jockey Ellis Collins.
No. That's a big negative for me, Lee.
Yeah, I saw that and thought, what? Yeah. Maybe they've got the Racing Post Chase in mind again in February.
Yeah, he will win one of these again, won't he, Captain Nord? Yeah, just one.
Yeah, he's well enough in. It's just like, so you have to work out the training plans of some of these trainers because he won the Racing Post last year and you thought this horse is good, but he's 9 now. I don't know. Ellis Collier on. I don't know. Difficult.
You thought Jack Tudor would have had the choice, wouldn't you?
Yeah, he's chose the other one, Kitty's Light, which is obviously 20-1, and probably I don't really fancy Kitty's off that mark. But John, any views here?
I thought Dublin Fair might go well, going up in trip a bit from what happened last year.
For Fergal and Paddy, obviously running behind Into Overdrive, which we just talked about in the rehearsal. Absolutely. I mean, like you say, if Raceway, I mean, it's one of them. If Dublin 4 wins this, what price Into Overdrive in the rehearsal? That might be something to watch out for. If you like your trades and your betting and stuff like that, it's obviously going to work out well. Right, 155. It's the Coral Racing Club Handicap Hurdle. Neville's tipped one in this, which is just Malacana, the filly that's done well on the flat, and certainly has got a great constitution. Really tough, which is nice to see from fillies. Sometimes they can be a bit soft, and I like that. I like that filly a lot. It is a really tough feat to sort of work out. This walking on air. Could be anything still. It's very, very unexposed. West Balboa's the same. Lord Baddesley's got the form in the book. That Chepstow race, second to Napa's Hill. Look how well that's working out, folks. Obviously, Napa's Hill since. Unanswered Prayers has won over fences. Masters Legacy's won. Proschema's won. That is good form. Up £9 for winning an egg and spoon race at Plumpton. I bet they might have not wished that they ran at Plumpton and probably come straight here off 124. Any thoughts on that?
That pretty much sums it up, Lee. Yeah, well done.
sorry. Yeah, going on.
It's so tricky, that race. I wouldn't have a clue, to be honest. I thought I recognised that name, Malachi, and I saw it run terribly at Ripon in September. I don't know what that was about, but anyway, yeah.
Right, Adam Norman notes 23rd of October 22. Petite Tonnerre looked quite burly and will come on for the run. Nicest of the bunch.
Right, okay.
No,
didn't even recognise the name. Yeah.
Adam, what's the site? Is it notes from the north.co.uk? What is it? What's your site?
Notes from the north. Yeah, .co.uk or just Google Norm's notebook. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes. It's come back to me now. Lovely horse. Yeah. Lovely big horse. Yeah.
That's the note. See, this is what professionals do. We take other people's notes. We steal them like magpies.
16-1's a big price. It's yeah. I wonder if there's a plan for that though. I don't know, because it was a big drifter last time, and that form looked good. Peking Rose a different kind. Bridge North, good. Yeah, I just wonder what they've got planned for that. It probably isn't this, but who knows? I don't know. But for a 4-year-old, he's a lovely, gorgeous horse. Yeah,
this is a good race. I mean, it's a standalone.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
It's a $40,000 race. How many races can you?
Yeah.
This might be the target.
Could be.
There are a lot of quite a few so-called unexposed horses in this. Walking on Air was all the rage last year, wasn't it, for Nicky Henderson? I think they were talking about running this at Cheltenham, were they, in Constitution Hill's race?
Yeah.
And then I think it get, for whatever reason, it didn't run. And then they put it in Group 1 company at Aintree. It only runs off 132. If it's a Group 1 horse or a Grade 1 horse, it have maybe 10, 12, 14 pound in hand. But I do like Malacana. I think it represents a good sporting bet, that at 10 or 12, whatever price it is.
Yeah, for sure. John, anything to add here?
Nothing whatsoever.
Right, we've summed it up there. Then 2:30, it's the Jerry Field, and I've got to stay quiet. But if you say anything bad against Picard or tip against Picard, you're all fools.
Yeah, I was speaking to someone earlier this week, and he brought up the name Picard as something that was miles ahead of his mark.
Yeah,
based on that Chepstow run. Yeah, I believe the time was very good.
Yeah.
I thought Picard was very interestingly campaigned last year. When they treated him like a good horse, didn't they?
Well, the Cheltenham run where he fell, right? The racing purse I thought were a bit harsh. They actually said he was out of contention when falling. Mm-hmm. He was about a length and a half down, and he wasn't really asked at that point. And so I found that bizarre. And then they took him to Haydock in that Grade 2, and Bridget Andrews on hundreds. And literally, it was honestly, you watched the race, it was like, it's just an absolute plod round the back. Yeah. No interest whatsoever in just make sure you get his confidence, pop him over hurdles. And that was it. And then he comes out at Chepstow and absolutely destroyed them.
The third horse that day was a horse of Nigel Twiston-Davis's, who would have won next time but fell at the last. Yes. The form looks very strong. Time for a Tune has won and been second under a big weight in the novice hurdle yesterday, wasn't it?
Yes.
And looks promised. I think you've unearthed it, and it looks competitive. Looks a competitive race, but it could be very well enough 127.
You feel as though this could be a 140, don't you? Right?
Yeah. I sort of said 145. That's where I think we're at by the end of this season. And I think you always need weight in hand in races like this, but I think he's got enough to get it done. So 13-8 is my price. That's my tissue price, folks. For Picard, we move on to the 305, which is the Hennessy Gold Cup, and me, Norman, and Neville have got to stay fairly quiet here. John, your thoughts on this?
I've actually had a tip for this race.
Ooh. I got a horse.
From our friend Tree Trunk in Stoke. with his snout in the Tizard yard.
Oh.
And he said that they are very sweet on the chance of lost in translation, believe it or not.
More than Oscar Lee. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Unbelievable, isn't it? I mean, I have acted on the information and had a small bet, just really in the hope that it runs like a pig and I can send him a hideous message tomorrow night on Facebook, basically, because I haven't had enough on to make me heart sing or anything like that.
It's interesting they've gone with a £7 Freddie Gingell.
He says the kid's going to make the horse well in, and the good ground, he will absolutely gobble it up, in his words. And as we know, Trey Trunk's all for gobbling. With him being such a greedy bastard.
I suppose if you take the 7 off, he's running off a mark of 143, which is a little bit beneath, his 173 of his pomp 2.5 years ago.
I don't think he's saying this out, to be honest. I can see him running well into the straight and then just falling in 8.
Yeah.
But as I say, I've acted on the info with small money to avoid problems tomorrow night. Really.
I can see it could be a Tizard 1-2-3 because Fiddler on the Roof is as a nailing, consistent handicap chaser, isn't he? And he's had a little spin a couple of weeks ago.
Well, no, not at all.
I think if Tizard does have the 1-2-3 and a Hennessy, I'll probably walk to London and bear my ass in Paraguay.
I thought there'd be some arse bearing going on if that happened.
He has got a great record. Well, the Yard have got a great record in this race, haven't they? They've won it twice out of the last 3 years. Well, Colin Tizard has. I'm sure nothing's changed though since. It's a very competitive race, isn't it? I did notice that Corach Rambler's a drifter on the exchange at the time of recording this. I wasn't totally convinced Paul Nichols's runner was that well handicapped, 300 through 5.
Yeah,
he ran okay at Wetherby. He didn't set the world alight, but I'm sure he didn't have him fit for that. And Bustleton will have to be very, very good for a 5-year-old to win this off 149. But
they've never done it before. Where's Andy Richmond with the stats?
He's cried off ill.
It must be a long time since a 5-year-old has won this. It's got to be, hasn't it?
They've never won it.
Oh, it's never happened. Oh, I didn't know that. Well, there you go.
That rules out Red Happy as well.
He's a non-runner, isn't he?
Oh, is it? It just lacks a sort of does it lack a bit of a touch of quality? This,
yes,
yeah. Maybe
wow
if Din Din was in this race, it might.
Din. We love Din Din. 3:40 Newbury. We need to move on quick because we've got about 2 minutes left. Amarillo Sky 6-4 to win the finale at Newbury. The handicap chase. Just my quote briefly. Only money I felt was the bet at 11-2 each way because primarily this horse has to have good ground. I was told last time that the ground had gone against this horse, and Jamie Moore had said, "Listen, get this horse back on good ground. He'll easy win off 123. He's really progressive." So I thought that nearly made my list. That was on my list. 11-2. I thought that was the bet. Adam.
He was keen that day as well. He was too keen that day because the rain came. They tended to take their time a bit, and he's done well to be third. I'd agree. I tried to get Amarillo Sky beat. He's a bonny horse, isn't he, Amarillo Sky?
6-4.
Yeah, no, exactly. You wouldn't. The time to back him was last time, but he'll set it up, won't he? Because all he does is just point and shoot, But you're right. It could set it up for a closer like Only Money.
Nev.
I didn't like the race. I didn't think there were any angle for me at any rate.
Nev's letting the dog in and getting the pate out.
I'm hopefully I've got mine by 3:40.
Hopefully Nev's got his lolly by the 3:40 race. We'll know after listening to this pod. John.
I'll be busy typing out my message to Trey Trunk, calling him a shithouse.
Absolutely. Right. We all hope you enjoyed this show. We certainly have. It's been an absolute pleasure. Adam Norman, when you decided to turn up, we've enjoyed his input. And you, Nev.
Thank you.
Good luck with your training going forwards. And by the way, listeners, if ever you want to buy a horse, you might want to look out Neville Ender as a trainer. Look at is it Cool Henry or Cold Henry recently? On the flat, landing a double.
He can keep it quiet when he's laying one out.
Absolutely, you get your prices. So, listeners, you fancy a horse or a syndicate, get in touch with Neville and That's all from us. Bye for now.